Green Cooling scores with the 13 Pro-Am Community Rugby League Show.
Yes, hello and welcome to another edition of the 13 Pro-Am Community Rugby League Show. I'm Steve Beech, and alongside me as ever is Dave Parkinson, bringing you all the action from grassroots game.
Absolutely, Steve. We've got a packed show, a right thriller between Leigh East and Millom. We've got some big interviews to bring you, both in length and in the stature of the people that we spoke to. Phil Hodgson's season predictions, and we'll look ahead to our feature game at the weekend, which just happens to be Loch Lane against Hunslet. One I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah, me too as well, Parky. Certainly visiting some old friends as well there when we get down to that one. But nevertheless, let's get straight into it. And Leigh East edged out Millom in what was a cracking contest.
12 metres out from the try line. Lupton picks up out of dummy half, lines it up. There's Dom O'Brien for the line, and he's made it. First try of the game. It goes the way of Millom. They target all around the middle of the field, and that was pretty dynamic play as well from them. Good link-up play from Else. Out the back it comes to Mullen. Mullen keeps it moving. There's Barnes slips it out. Get away. They're going to score. And Leigh East have responded down that side. It's Marcus Mercer that's come up with the second try of the game, but the first one for Leigh East. Holland moves it out to Mullen. Mullen kicks it into the corner. Bernard out of the way, goes after it and touches down. It was judged to perfection. What a kick. But Wilkes spins it out to Mullen. Mullen takes it really well. Then gets it back to Else. Else
lovely
Mullen.
Play.
Mullen bursting through. Can he get all the way?
Lovely
that's
play.
A super try. Intricate move amongst the middle. Mullen involved twice before finishing off himself.
Lovely play on just over 25 and a half minutes.
Yarwood picks it up. He skips across to this right hand side. Throws a dummy. Surges on. Oh, he stops about 5 metres out. Last tackle. Off to this right side. Oh, it's been intercepted. They're coming down the ground here. They're coming down the ground. It's Peters. Peters, he's over the halfway. He's over the 30. He's over the 20. He's dummied. He puts the ball in field. That's a brilliant response from Millom, because Tom Askew jogs it to the post, and it all came from that intercept.
Coming back to the middle. Mullen feeds it inside to 13 else who's away. He's got his foot down, nobody with him though, just taking on the fullback, takes the tackle.
He's raced about 40 metres though. Quick play the ball here in the court. Barnes picks up out of dummy half, sends it right to Mullen. Mullen over the top. Here's Wharton, further wide with Aspinall. Aspinall from the corner. Aspinall has got there. The try is awarded. Brilliant play from Leigh East. What a response. And it comes after how long, Steve?
35 minutes.
Holland sends it right. O'Brien through hands onto Barnes. Barnes step. Barnes dive.
It's over.
It's another score for Leigh East. Barnes opens the scoring in this second half, stretches the advantage out to 24 points to 12. Millom asking the questions again. Kai McPherson plays it off into the middle. Hodgson keeps it moving to Evans, who then gets it out to Thompson. The defence masses on him though, and the challenge comes in from James Taylor. Lupton goes out of dummy half, sends it to the left-hand side. Askew goes in. Well, it's just snaking an arm out there, almost in hope and anticipation, was Matty Aspinall, but it just got past him, and Askew goes in to keep Millom in touch in this one.
Yeah, they're making quick yards, easy yards. Ball's gone down.
Chance here for Hodgson.
Chance here.
Hodgson going it alone. Can he get over? Oh, he has. He's gone all the way.
Certainly has.
Superb work from Jonathan Hodgson. Well, he might not play quite as many games as once upon a time he did for Millom, but he always makes a difference, and he's closed this gap to just 6 points. Great defence from Millom.
Oh, there could be trouble here. I think there could be a man in the bin.
They just about put enough pressure on him.
It's our man Else.
Else has said something, has he?
No, what he did, he kicked the ball away.
Kicked
the ball away, and he's going to spend some time in the sin bin.
26 points to 20 in favour of Leigh East. Yes, it has been every inch the entertaining game that scoreline suggests, as Holland is tackled virtually on the line. And the referee's whistle sounds, and Leigh East have done it. They've won their first home game of the season. They've defeated Millom in what has been an absolutely outstanding game of rugby league.
Green cooling keeps the 13 Pro-Am Community Rugby League show cool, even when tackles get heated.
Got to say there, Steve, that was a real tight affair. A really entertaining game. It was one that I most definitely enjoyed, and it was a real buzzer contest.
Oh, it certainly was. Got to say, I mean, the day as a whole was really good, because obviously we got we were having a chat to a couple of guys from Millom, who obviously you knew. Then we went in the club and we had a chat with quite a few people within the club who knew you. Then we had a chat with the referee who you knew.
What are you saying here, Steve? It's like you know everybody, Dave.
No, but I've got to say, everybody was really, really welcoming, and I said it from the last time we went down there, how impressed I was with the whole setup in and around there, and it's absolutely superb. And I know a lot of players are not keen on playing on a 4G pitch, but the pace of rugby league that was played there on a day, really, if you'd have been on a grass pitch, we probably wouldn't have been conducive to that sort of rugby.
Yeah, because it did rain for part of it, wasn't it?
It's a slight drizzle, which could have made it even more difficult, but it didn't. It was really fast paced, and on both sides there were some real great architects of rugby league. It was absolutely superb.
I got to speak afterwards with the Leigh East captain, Connor Grainey. This is what we had to say. OK, I'm really delighted to be joined quickly after the match by Connor Grainey, Leigh East skipper. How was that one for you? I mean, 26-20, what I get from a spectator's point of view, that was a crackerjack of a game.
Yeah, tough contest. We always knew it was going to be tough when Millom come up, but I think our forwards just ground it out, and some big hits going in there.
You've got some previous history in Millom as well, haven't you? You know, like over the last couple of years, you played him in like promotion finals. You've been toe to toe with them at the right end of League Division 3, and obviously they've come out of Division 2 this year, haven't they? So, is that a good early yardstick for you?
Yeah, it's a good battle always against Millom. But over the years, we have a lot of past players who know each other, so it's always a good contest. All the past, I think they get the better of us sometimes, so it's a good one to get over early on them.
Obviously, as we always find in community level, you know, you get teams that stick around for years and years and years, and players that get used to playing with each other, and then you get new lads that kind of come in year on year. This year you've got Craig Mullen alongside you. Just about 3 or 4 years ago was actually playing in Super League. What's it like having a player like him alongside you?
Oh, he's masterclass. It's just good on the field to have that experience at side you. Cool, calm, collective. He knows what to do on the right areas of the pitch.
And I was looking at him today and thinking, why has he not played half-back throughout his days? Because, as you mentioned, it was like a bit of a masterclass from him. I mean, I know his points probably weren't the key point, but it's like what he can do with his kicking game and putting you in the right areas of the field, isn't it? Yeah,
he can put that ball on the 50p with his foot. So when we give it him at last tackle, he just knows where to turn the ball over. Like I say, his experience is unbelievable for us. Obviously, we're a young side, so he helps a lot of the young lads come through. Like we've got Kai, young half-back, so he offers him a lot of support.
And what's he been like, Kai, coming through?
Yeah, well, he took the step up from last year from under-18s into our first team, and he never looks out of place. I think his core skill for catching and passing is probably one of the best I've seen for a young lad, so watch out for him. Because
I think that can be quite a jump, can't it? I mean, you've been through it yourself, and obviously you're doing it in a I was going to say a tough position. Arguably, as a halfback, you've then got to take some responsibility for getting the team around as well, haven't you? Whereas you've got to think, I've got to run and I've got to set the lead, you know. So it's different jobs, I'm guessing. Yeah,
a lot different, but he can carry it well, Kai. A lot of pressure on his shoulders, and he's holding out, doing well.
Obviously, it's a couple of years since I spoke to you, to be honest. You know, I'm sorry about that, mate, by the way. How's it been going down here? I know last year, was it seen as a bit of a letdown of a season, not quite making the playoffs?
No, we got to the playoffs. We got beat off Dissington, but we had a young side going up there. So, but last year we got a lot of lads left to join the pro game. So it was like a young side. We just ground it out every week, just trying to field the team really. So this year it's good to have a lot of people fighting for spaces again.
So is there more people down here, and the club's in a stronger position?
Yeah. Club's back where I want it. To be honest, we've got fielding two sides again which is a lot. We've had 37 training, so it's a lot of competition for the shirt.
And I've got to ask you again, you talk about that competition, it's almost like you, Wilkesy and Elsie, you're competing against each other to be top of the meter makers or stuff. That's just what I get sometimes, when I see you guys play as a unit.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, we're a good work together as a good team. But I think Lewis Elsie's just creeping up on me on the meters, so I've asked her to put my ideas up.
So, well, you must have been pleased when you got Simbin then in that case, because you could take over that. But having said that, I know I'm jesting about it. That was actually a really important part of the game, and dare I say it, on another year, we've had experiences, obviously with my history down here at Leigh East, where games have been lost with decisions like that and when they've gone against Leigh East, haven't they? So, but you've turned that into a win. Yeah,
it was very out of character of Lewis, to be honest. I don't think he's ever had a Simbin at the open age, so I think he just had a bit of a brain fart. So, to be fair, there were 30 minutes left and it could have cost us a game, but I backed my lads and we just grounded it out.
Thank you so much for joining us. Always a pleasure to have a chat, Connor. And I can't believe that I'm almost getting to the point where you're 23, 24 now?
23, yeah.
23, and you're one of the most experienced guys in this team.
Yeah, just about. I think I've been in for an early age, so I've been around the block a lot. I look a lot older than what I am.
I look forward to having a catch up with you later in the season. Best of luck. Hope the rest of the year goes well for you, Paul.
Cheers, Dave. Thank you.
Rugby League's secret weapon, Green Cooling, scores with the 13 Pro-Am Community Rugby League Show.
Yeah, big performance from Leigh East there. And speaking of big performances, that man Craig Mullen who they were on about, Parker, he was our man of the match. I've got to say, every time he touched the ball, something was happening, wasn't it?
He made things happen, didn't he? And I commented there, didn't I, to Connor, that I'm surprised that, because I've seen a lot of the games that he played at a first team level, like during his playing days around Super League and Championship, and I've never seen him play halfback before. And I'm wondering why not, because he was outstanding in that position, wasn't he?
He was, yeah.
He was being helped out by his young halfback Kai O'Brien, who also deserves a mention in this. But it was just his ability to put Leigh East in the right places and then pick the right decision 9 times out of 10.
Yeah, well, there's a tried, I think it was just before half-time, where he did a little run-around move with Lewis Else. He was on about Connor was on about and you're thinking, if that would have been on, speaking of Super League, if that had been on the Super League platform, everybody would have been raving about it, because it was absolutely superb.
It's a brilliant move, wasn't it?
Absolutely superb move.
If I remember rightly, that was the second time he was involved in the move as well.
That's right,
He gave it to Lewis in the first place, who made good inroads, then made himself available on the wraparound and managed to finish off as well.
Yeah. And speaking of Lewis Else, like you said, when he got that 10 minutes ride at the end, I thought, because it was close, as we were saying, and we both turned around and looked at the scoreboard and thought, is he going to go at that? Millom going to come back in this?
And we could look round at the scoreboard as well, because it was right behind us.
It was certainly was.
I was pretty impressed with Millom, to be honest, in that game. I thought that they gave as good as they got. They had Kai McPherson, who was chewing up the meters every single time. Connor Terrell was very, very good, driving through the middle as well. Dom O'Brien, who opened the scoring for them, and they had young Jude Lupton on dual registration from Workington Town, and I thought that he did a really solid job at 9 in again with his distribution. And Hodgson's running game later on really started to make inroads, didn't it?
And I noticed the young half-back, was it Evans? His kicking game, what I did notice about it, he was always low and powerful. He didn't, very little he put to the actual, the air as such. It was sort of really fast darting kicks, and really pinned at times, pinned Leigh East back. Both him and his brother at fullback.
Yeah, definitely. Jackson.
They both had the same headgear on, they both the same size. It's good job one of them had their socks rolled down, otherwise we'd have never
no chance, would we? We'd have had no chance.
Both very good, and it was a thrilling contest. I've got to say though, we caught up with the former Super League player, as they were saying there. This is Parky speaking to Craig Mullen.
Craig, your first season down here at Leigh East, how are you enjoying it so far, mate?
First of all, thanks for having me. I'm glad it's not a practical joke, this. No prank patrol on me. So, yeah, I'm enjoying it. It's good for me back and just enjoying the game for what it is. So,
because I mean, we made a comment during our commentary that just 4 years ago you're playing Super League Rugby League. And it's like how time flies, and now you're here, and it did genuinely look like you was loving it out there.
Time flies when you're having fun. This year, I've enjoyed my 2-year break. Tried a little bit of that. I'll not mention it on your podcast. The other code, yeah, okay, the dark side. Tried a bit of that, but I had to come back to the grassroots there.
And how are you finding it? Because I mean, like, have you played halfback before?
I've played half, yeah. I've had times at half. Probably when I used to fit in the 6 and 7 jersey. I don't fit as well in them anymore. So yeah, it's good for me back out there. I like getting my hands on the ball a little bit more, dictating people about instead of being told what to do, like by the likes of Josh Woods and stuff like that. He's probably one of the main reasons why I'm heading down here on top of a class group of lads. Because
obviously he's coaching down here now, isn't he, as well?
He does, yeah. So there's no difference there, him rollicking me on sideline, but it's on sideline instead of being in front of me this time. So
I mean, what was it? Obviously I know you've played at what we can term as high level. Obviously playing in Super League, playing in Championship, playing like Challenge Cup games and playing for Wigan, as well. But I love it when we get games like this, which are just, it was from a spectator's point of view, it was just so entertaining. What are they like to play in, though?
Whilst you're in it, nerve-wracking. I imagine for a neutral it's great. When you're sponsoring the game like Coyley today, probably not so much. But yeah, they're great to be a part of. Not so good on the vocal cords after the game, but when you're doing your shouting and bawling at them for somebody
doing okay with a bit of liquid,
though,
to be fair.
Yeah, but for those not watching, not seeing, because it's not a visual, it's a Fanta orange.
I didn't make that sure. Obviously, there might be other things that cross your lips a little bit later on, but we're fine for that, to be fair. I just think it's great that someone of your standing has come back to grassroots. To be fair, mate.
It's where it starts, isn't it? I think that's where you really fall in love with the game. So it just reminds me of being back at not even a club field, back on, I can't even think of the park name back then. So playing for Cuthbert's, do time at Blackberry, playing against Leigh East and stuff like that. So it just takes you back to those days and why you really got into it. Mum and Dad on sideline, Mrs on sideline, coming off, being able to mingle and mix and that sort of stuff. So it's good, yeah. I've loved it. I think that's real different for me.
I think that's the beauty, isn't it, of community rugby league, and the fact that your role almost changes now, doesn't it? Because I believe you've got a really young halfback alongside you. So you're almost sort of guiding him into the game as well now, aren't you?
I have. I'm enjoying playing along Kai. He teaches me a few things about just being the natural player and not thinking too much about the game and just doing what you see. So I'm enjoying playing alongside Kai and Adam. When Adam comes on as well, a little bit of an older half, you get that. There's some boys out there who's probably nearly touching 40 now, and just like the love of the game. That's why everybody's here. You don't get paid for it. You work all week, and this is your fun. So.
Talking of which, I'll go and let you rejoin your fun, and I want to thank you so much for joining
It's
me.
It's been a pleasure.
Every tackle, every try, every scrum. Green Cooling is proud to be part of the Community Rugby League family.
What a great guy.
Absolutely super. And do you know what, Parker, you need characters like that at our club, don't you? You do.
Superb character, you know. I mean, he come in, first of all, he was checking around the corner, making sure that no one was dressed up as Leto the Leopard, and there wasn't any sort of hidden cameras or anything like that. He's like, what's anybody wanting to speak to me for? Yeah,
but that shows what team spirit they've got together there when he knows that sort of thing could be played on him, doesn't he? You know what I mean? He's got them all weighed up. But yeah, that was absolutely superb.
What is really nice as well is that I remember reading some pieces at the time when Craig was actually stepping down from Newcastle and not renewing his contract up there, and he said he'd lost the love for the game. You know what? He looks like he's fully in love with it again, doesn't he? Yeah. And that is just so refreshing to see. And that if a player of his sort of standing, that has had his sort of record, gets that opportunity to take that rugby field again, they can enjoy it. And this is what the competition does. This is what playing at National Conference League is. This is what playing at the Carla level is. This is what playing at North West Men's and Yorkshire Men's is for you. You can have a go back. You can enjoy your rugby league.
Right,
so you never need to quit. You never need to pack in.
Yeah,
come back.
Because what you've got to realise, enjoying the rugby league isn't just about the game. It's about the people you play that game with. It's about those people who are in and around that team. You know, the guy who sort of gets the shirts ready, or gets all the kits, gets the tackle pads out, all those. That's the people out there. I mean, we were on about last week when we were at Jude's, and obviously our friend up there was getting his life membership. Those types of people, that's the community part of it. And like I say quite a few times, sometimes the game's sort of secondary to a certain degree. Success is great and fantastic, and obviously we'll always move a club forward. But the other side of that, when you don't have success and you're having some adversity, the community comes together, a lot stronger in some respects. We've seen that over the last few years with other things. But yeah, great club. It is. It's really, really refreshing to see.
On this rate, we're going to be getting you a Leigh East jumper. Anyway, Millom. That was a bit of a combination, wasn't it? Millom pushed Leigh East all the way. Let's now hear from their head coach, Bradd Crellin. This was another interesting conversation as well. Okay, so I have been joined by Bradd Crellin. Brad, your thoughts on the game? I'd imagine quite a frustrating one from a coach's point of view.
Yeah, very, very frustrating for ourselves as a whole. We come into it on the back of a tight win against Milford last week, and we weren't at our best last week, to be fair, against Milford, and we were probably lucky to get the win. We only sort of come to in the last 10 minutes, so we had a bit of an emphasis on this week of bringing some energy and some enthusiasm, which we didn't have last week. And we warmed up, and I thought, we're feeling pretty good in the warm-up. And then as soon as we went into the game, it just felt real flat. And we sort of built into the game as it went on. And maybe if we played the game was in maybe another 10 minutes longer, we'd have maybe got over the whitewash again. But credit to Leigh East, they bring a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of energy. They've got a couple of good players there in Craig Mullen and is it Louis Else, the loose forward. So yeah, they did a bit of damage for them too today, and we just weren't good enough on the day.
Got to say as well, though, I mean, I know you pinpointed perhaps a little bit of a slow start, but for me it was a case of when somebody made a mistake in the first sort of 20 minutes, it was punished. So first of all, it was Leigh East who came up with the error, and he was good enough to get over the line. And I've got to praise Dom O'Brien. I thought he was perhaps amongst your best forwards today. Yeah, definitely. Put himself in the right place at the right time. But then there was the flip side of it, a couple of mistakes, and suddenly you find yourself 16-6 down. Yeah,
and the thing, like you say there, we got over with Dom, who ran a great line on the back of one of their errors, but it just seemed once they got the ball back, they were making more metres than us. They were running a bit more, with a bit more, I'd say probably a bit more pride and a bit more passion, and our lads it was as if we were on the back foot all the time, and it was very frustrating, to be honest. But when we got into their half of the field and maybe their 30, and we looked quite good at times, but it just wasn't enough. It wasn't consistent enough for us. And I think we brung Jonathan Hodgson in this week at standoff. He's been missing for the last few weeks, and he's got a bit of a running game. That's why I brung him in, to try and use his bit of a running game. But like I say, credit to Leigh East, the defence was pretty good today.
Where'd you go from this one? Because we are still really early days in the season, aren't we? So obviously there's no panic, and obviously it's 1 win, 1 loss. So you can still build into the season. And, from the conversation we had a couple of weeks ago, I said I didn't think there'd be anybody that would pull away from this pack. I think it's going to be a very close division, this one. Yeah,
well, you look at the fixtures last week, and I think all the games, that was the biggest margin, 6 points. And obviously today was another 6 point ball game. And yeah, I just think for us as a squad, we've got such a big squad as well, because we've got the 18s there as well. So this week we had 34 at training, 35 at training, and it gives us some opposition to run against as an NCL side with the 18. So we can sort of forget about this week, but think about the enthusiasm and stuff that we didn't bring, and how smart we weren't at times, and sort of work on that over this week and hopefully get a reaction next week against Saddleworth at home. So we'll look at going there, yeah.
I know you've pinpointed as well when we've had previous conversations about younger players, but I mean, I also thought as well you got Cian McPherson, who's perhaps one of those guys that, although he's still young, he's been on the fringes of pro, hasn't he? And sort of like been going, and then he's come back, and you know, obviously I know from our chats that you always welcome players like that to come back. It was almost like you needed to get more off the back of him. You know, and go round him. You know, it's almost like players were thinking, can we get round him? And then, he's doing another good run. I'll just stay back a little bit. And maybe I'll get in the next play.
I think at times, we maybe look to him a bit too much, to be honest, and just use him at the right times, because he can be destructive. He can score tries. He works hard, and I think we maybe try to go to him a bit too many times today, especially at the back end of the game. There, I think we hit him on a lead, and if we went out the back, I think we'd have had a 3-on-2. Against their centre wing.
He dragged 4 players.
He did, and I think it'd have been a wide kick, whether we'd have got it or not. It'd have ended up a 2-point ball game if we didn't get the kick. So, but yeah, people like that with Keane coming in. But we had a few young lads out there today. We had Rio Walker on the wing, I think he's 17. I don't know if he's 18 yet. Luke Allenby played prop. He's only 17.
He was good when he came on.
He was really good. Yeah, he's good. He's Luke. He's going to be definitely one for the future. And he's doing all right at the minute. So we give him a shot today off the bench, and like I say, he done really well. And then we've got like Kai Williams in the centre that was inside Rio Walker. He's still only 18, 19, and once these lads get a bit more experience under the belt, I think we've got the makings of a good side. We just need it to come together.
Commiserations on today, but I wish you well for the rest of the season. And no doubt I'm going to have another catch up with you.
Yeah, I'm sure you will. Thank you very much. Cheers, Dave.
13 Pro-Am Community Rugby League Show, discussing the greatest game at all grassroots levels.
Yeah, great to hear that from Bradd Crellin. He was, honest, and we were having a chat to him, obviously in the corridor a little bit later on after that interview as well. Lovely bloke, as you say, down to earth, understands where things are, like he was saying though, with regards to where his club is at the moment. And it's bringing those youngsters through. I mean, we've said that, haven't we, with lots of clubs, that you've got to be able to bring them through without actually relying on them as such, in the sense of the stay of the team type of thing, but be able to filter them into your team and get them to play, maybe not all the time, but to just get a sort of a feeler for how things are.
They've been a symptom of their own success really over recent seasons of Millom, because they have developed a real good clutch of young players that have stepped into the professional ranks. And to be fair, this is what you want to be doing as a community club as well, isn't it? But it's always interesting to note that beneath that there's another group of young players that are waiting to step into the wing, so to speak, or step onto the wing in Rio Walker's case. And that's something that is very, for me, that's very good for the future.
Yeah, definitely. Right, time now to take a look around the rest of the results in the community game.
Okay, we love our guests here on the 13 Pro-Am Community Rugby League Show, and I'm joined on the other end of the line with Wath Brow's Fran King. Fran, long time since we last spoke, mate. How's life treating you? How are you getting on?
Yeah, pretty good, Dave. Been a tough pre-season. Started a bit slow by our standards, but it's been a bit of a difficult season for us, though, with losing some of the pro game and Peter retiring, so it's a bit of a change at our end, but that comes with new challenges. So yeah, we're two from the last two, so onwards and upwards, hopefully it continues.
I'll come back to you a little bit on that later on, but one of the main reasons that I wanted to contact you is that you had a great win against Leigh Miners Rangers at the weekend, but perhaps more importantly, there was money being raised for a very good local cause, and I saw all your social media that you put out as a club, and I just thought, well, I fell in love with it, basically. I thought, what a story. So I thought, who better than yourself to tell us a little bit more about it, perhaps?
Yeah, so it kind of come about from an idea when we were designing kits, really, and it's might sound a bit random, that, but myself and Dean were looking at maybe doing a different type of kit, and then we're thinking, should we do it for a charity cause? We didn't really have one in mind at the time, but it was basically in the area. There's obviously, as you've seen on social media, there's a young girl that's been through a tough time, to say the least. I think it all fell in terms of timing, really, because at that time in January, February time when we were doing it, she was going through the treatment, and there was a lot of fundraising already ongoing at that point. So, given that she was from Clayton-Mill, where we're from, and local, well, I would say my friendship group has kids that go to school with and stuff like that. So she's not necessarily part of our rugby club, but really local to us. So we reached out to her mum and said, is this something you would happy for us to do? We didn't want to tread on toes because they're doing a lot of fundraising themselves. And kind of it took off from there, really. So an idea of designing the kit and doing it for a good cause is turned into a fantastic turnout where we got to at the weekend.
I mean, it was a fantastic kit as well, and you christened it with the win. Yeah,
so the kit, we try to keep some Wath Brow colours on it. So Wath Brow's never wore a white kit to start off with, as far as I can remember. But we kept a little bit of yellow on there, a little bit of blue and the black. But other than that, we kept the blank canvas, and we let the young lass design it herself, and sort of didn't give her any hints, tips or nothing. It was literally a free for all. Whatever she wanted to draw, she could, and we try and make that into a kit design. And then we got a picture back from her, obviously, as you've seen, with the house on, the rainbows across the top, a little bee, and she signed it herself. So we sent that to O'Neill's, and to be fair, they've been really good with us, and they were actually going to tweak the design for us if I wanted, but I said, no, let's leave it exactly as she's drawn it. Can you put that in a kit? Let's see what it looks like. And then, as you've seen all over social media, it was a great turnout for it.
Is it something that's been, taken on really, really well locally, that as well?
Yeah, massively. And it's something that in this area, I can't speak for any other areas, but in times where it's tough, rivalries go aside with thinking about the rugby league community, but even Clayton-Mill itself, everyone pulls together in that area, and any times adversity like that, people always are more than willing to help out, and that's what happened at the weekend. So we had support from Egremont, as you'll have probably seen, as one example. So they sent £500 donation before the weekend, which was brilliant. Other rugby clubs have done the same. So Flimby Vikings played our A team before it, so they were more than accommodating. So we were supposed to play at Flimby, and they reversed the fixture to us, so they could all be based at home that day. So they even done an early kick-off at 12:15, so they could all stay for our game. Made our A team could be there and make a full day of it, really. So credit must go to them. But they also walked in the club and handed over £300 off their own back right away as well. And then Leigh Miners done the same at a £400 donation. Casson Rangers, another local club, reached out and gave us a donation return of £50, as well as boxing clubs have reached out for donations, and I wouldn't like to miss one, so I wish I had it in front of me now, but there will be more on that list as well. Sponsors have reached out, so yeah, you can imagine the figures going up pretty well, and a lot of that is local people and local community coming together, and rivalries as well aside. It's brilliant.
And I know that you mentioned on social media that Siddle had made a donation too, hadn't you?
Yeah. So when we were in the club on Saturday, before we just obviously we'd had that fixture, we just advertising the game really, and then I had 3 members of the Siddle club come to me and hand over some money there and then, literally before the event, said they want to put donations forward for the charity. So that was kind of the first of the rugby league coming forward, and then as we shared it, and the story built and grew. The others stepped up and come as well. So fantastic for the charity, and a lot of money raised over the weekend.
And if we can go on to the game, I mean, 28 points to 0. I mean, that's quite a thorough performance. That was it as comprehensive as the scoreline suggests?
I don't know if you've seen any weather up in Cumbria, but I can easily say over the 37 years I've been alive, it's the coldest I've ever been.
Right, okay.
In terms of rugby, I've played rugby a long time, and I've never ever felt that cold. It couldn't have been any worse. So all we planned for was a dry day. Prayed for a dry day. Because we had sort of replica t-shirts, charity t-shirts made. So if it was a sunny day, it would have been all there in white, and they kind of matched the kit and stuff like that. So it would have been brilliant. But there was absolutely no chance anyone could wear them outside because it was torrential. So yeah, the game itself was not exactly expansive, but no, I think we done pretty well and managed the conditions well. and now to keep anyone to nil is massive, isn't it? So yeah, I think it was good for us to get them 2 wins in a row, as we said with Siddle on this one. But yeah, it was difficult to play rugby in them conditions, and if you see any videos, you'll see why.
Okay, I'll keep my eyes open. Maybe that'll get the social media post of the week this week as well, then, if it was played in like torrential storms or anything like that, because these things can just drop out of the sky, can't they, on you? So.
Yeah, with that, like we said, you wouldn't believe it now, from company does eventually get sun, and this week due to be quite nice all week up until the weekend, so it couldn't have been, literally missed it by one day. But other than the weather, the day couldn't have went any better.
Hey, to be fair, I mean, I was in Workington on Sunday, and gorgeous in Workington on Sunday. I'm thinking, what's everybody been saying about? Because they'd said about that it had been a bit stormy the day before. I was like, okay, but then, you know, my variation of or my sort of like saying of a bit stormy probably doesn't match that of a Cumbrian's.
Oh, it's another level in Cumbria, isn't it? and that definitely was that. You know, the rain was sideways. It was as cold as I've ever felt. So, considering getting the shower at half time, that kind of thing with Mickey on, it was horrendous.
Considering, like you said, about the changes that there has been, and you know, you go through periods, don't you, as rugby clubs, where people move on. Obviously, now you've got or had a lot of players that have had a load of success at the club and have really given a lot of time, and then now they're going for other rugby league challenges as well. There's actually a few guys that have left and gone to the pro game, hasn't there? Both Whitehaven and Workington locally. In a way, does this sort of excite you? Because it's almost like a bit of a changing of the guard, isn't it?
Excited, I don't know if it's the right word at the moment. It's a tough time, but no, you're right. It's a different challenge, of course it is. So credit to the four lads that signed, Colby, Jake and Ellison. Obviously, as you said, two's going to Workington, two's going to Whitehaven. But even Charlie Tomlinson not playing either, who obviously went on tour with yourself, and Jake Moore and Gregory's finished as well, and I maybe this others are retired, but it's been a big chunk of our team for the last few years, really. So losing sort of 7 of you, possibly starting 17, is a big loss. But at the same time, it's going to give people like Devon Sharp and that sort of age group a chance. So yeah, a challenge, yes, but at the same time, it'll bring them on. We've all been there ourselves, and you know, rugby league does that kind of circle, doesn't it? At some point, you are going to lose people, and that just shows it's a credit to them lads that signed, and things must be doing things right at the club if they've progressed. Yeah,
I mean, I would agree with that sort of sentiment, and you know, it's something that, as you say, it's not a new thing. It always tends to happen, doesn't it? But sometimes it's rare when it happens all at once, and like you said, eight of your squad it's one hell of a number, that really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a challenge, but obviously you'll have seen yourself last year. Our 18 went on and won all the 4 trophies that there was locally, so it gives them a chance now to step up, and we've got some good youth there as well. So we'll just see how the season takes us. Take it a game at a time, and each week they're going to be gaining experience. So we'll see what we can get from it.
I know it's only early days, but you know, it's been pretty solid so far, hasn't it?
Yeah, well, the first game, it was probably the oldest team I've ever played in for a long time, because it was a stag do weekend, so we've had a bit of bad luck that way, but no excuses. We give Westall a good game, and we fell just short on that. I think it was 6 points short, so considering it was away that weekend, we've done pretty good. The Rochdale one, we've kind of just got a draw line under that, and we got a good season 2 there, unfortunately, with 48 points, which is not like us. But yeah, since then, we bounced back with a big win against Siddle, and obviously to keep Leigh Miners to nil is massive. So 2 big away games now with York and Hunslet, I think, if I've got that right. So we'll see how we are on the road.
So is it York this weekend?
I believe so, yeah. So York first and then Hunslet after that.
Always a bit of a challenging tie, that one, isn't it, at York Acorn? Obviously, you had you played them in the Challenge Cup like last year, didn't you? And then
that's right, yeah.
Over the last couple of years, they become regular league foes, haven't they, I suppose?
Yeah, always been around that same sort of area, 4th, 5th and 6th, and I don't think many games have been more than 6 or 8 points apart. I maybe missed a couple of that, but yeah, they've always been tight. Regardless what side we send down or they send up, it seems to always fall out at being a tough tie. So hoping we can go down there and get the result.
Just talking a little bit more generally about, you know, the Premier Division, and you know, it again, it looks like there's a bit of a changing of the guard at a couple of other clubs as well, you know. So you look at Hunslet, for example, you know, who have gone through a similar sort of thing. You know, lads coming back off the tour, suddenly they find themselves in professional setups and, you know, working wonders for the likes of Dewsbury Rams, for example, you know. So I don't know. Are you sort of spurred on a little bit? It does feel like it's wide open. I know we've only been going for a month, but it just feels like the most open sort of Premier Division that we've had in years.
It has, and I think Hunslet's dominated for a long time, and credit to them with their wins, and they've always been in the top 1, 2 or 3, I would think. And I know they won it from a bit lower once, but they've always been there and consistent, having their say with Westhalls and Siddles. But looking at it so far, I think there's only Westall that's unbeaten. Everyone's beating each other, and there's some sides up there that's just been promoted, so it does look wide open, and it's nice it's not the same teams, you know. I'd like us to be one of them up there, obviously, but time will tell whether we are or not. But if everyone's beating each other, it makes it competitive, doesn't it? It makes it interesting. It's not just the same old. So yeah, it's exciting in that right, definitely.
Yeah, I'm quite pleased that with the rest of the divisions, it's a similar sort of tale at the moment. It only looks like East Leeds, who I think took half of Hunslet's team, seem to be, you know, like rolling forward on the back of that. To be fair, but you know, it is always interesting, and obviously you mentioned you're now perhaps one of the more experienced heads, shall we say?
Nice way of putting it, Dave.
You know, I'm getting better at this sort of stuff. You know, like I think I've made enough enemies down the years in sort of like saying, "So you're getting on a bit now." You know, but what do you sort of feel when you look at the sort of Premier Division and you look at, you know, the development of what this squad could do at Wath Brow?
I think it's unknown. I really do. We're losing that big chunk of players, and there's people now learning that level, because I'll be totally honest, these are big jump coming from our local league to right into the Premier. Obviously, if you think the NCL's got 4 leagues, and some teams will get the opportunity to work their way through the leagues, and maybe their local sides playing in Division 3, Division 2, but unfortunately for ourselves at the moment, you're jumping right to the Premier. So it's a bit of unknown is the honesty on that one, and the players themselves have got the ability, and I think we've still got a few old heads there to see them right. It's just having that sort of the numbers, getting that right, obviously, because it's summer, naturally every team goes through it. There'll be holidays, stag do's, and if you can manage through them periods where it's tough, anything can happen really. And as it's proven at the start of this year, everyone's beating each other. So I keep saying, time will tell. I'm honestly not sure, but we'll just have to take each game as it comes. I
suppose with young players, you get brilliance, but you also get inconsistency, don't you? As like you said, players are learning the craft, and you know, they're going to make mistakes. They're going to get found out in certain things, but that's how they learn, isn't it?
It is, and we've entered the National Cup this year as well, and that's hopefully a chance to get them young players playing at a different level as well. It doesn't necessarily have to be the Premier, because obviously, depending who you're drawing against, there could be Yorkshire sides, local leagues, but there also could be lower division NCL teams as well. So that's obviously an opportunity to plug some of them into that as well. So I think we've got Leigh East away, and I think it's Easter weekend around about then. So we'll maybe see what sort of team we send down there against them.
Yeah, it's always interesting, you know, like and like you say, there's an opportunity there, isn't there, with the National Cup? It's unfortunately perhaps not as high on the list of things that you want to be going after that it was in the past, but it's still a good breeding ground, isn't it?
No, but it seems to be growing again, though. It seems like Barla's got it right, where they're not clashing with NCL games, and they seem to have got over that hurdle, because I know Rochdale may have had a bit of trouble last year, didn't they, where they clashed with a game and they dropped out, and it obviously wasn't a good look in the semi-final. But looking at it this year, there seems to be more teams entered than I probably expected, or has been in recent years. So I guess on that one as well, it's an unknown for them. So we'll see how young one's doing that. And
it's been a few years, hasn't it, since Wath Brow last entered?
Oof, yeah, I wouldn't like to guess how many, but I think since the NCL sides didn't really enter it for a good period, did they? So it probably will be, would it be 10 years? Maybe not quite. I think we maybe ended our air team in it once, but I'll be guessing completely. I know Winter League was probably the last time we were in it properly.
Yeah, we've been summer for a good 12 years now, I think, haven't we?
Yeah, definitely. Probably maybe even more, 2010 onwards or 11 onwards, I would think, yeah.
although judging from what you've told me at the weekend, it doesn't always guarantee summer conditions, does it?
No such thing, I don't think, is there?
Fran, thank you so much for bringing us up to speed. I really appreciate your time this evening. Best of luck with the games that are coming up, and let's see how Wath Brow goes and develops over the course of the season, mate.
No problem. Thanks for reaching out, Dave, and sharing this obviously story as well on behalf of the charity and what we're doing. And it's given me a chance to say thanks to them rugby clubs, obviously, that thanked us. And we will put some more posts out on social media and tag yourselves in to share. But yeah, overall, a very successful weekend. So yeah, thanks for the call, Dave.
A very successful weekend indeed, and Wath Brow put in a dominant display to complete the second win of the season. Put my teeth in. Greg Rooney and Fran King struck early before Morgan McCourt and Sam Kerwin put the result beyond doubt. McCourt grabbed a second before Kerwin completed the scoring, converting his own try. The scorers there were Rooney, King, McCourt with 2, Kerwin with 2, and only 2 goals kicked as well, so it could have been even worse defeat for Leigh Miners Rangers, who didn't even trouble the scorers.
Meanwhile, West Bowling suffered their first loss of the season as Waterhead Warriors stormed to victory. Keegan Brennan put the Warriors ahead before Aidan Scully's try, converted by Lewis Camden, briefly gave Bowling the lead, but Waterhead took control with tries from Harrison Dodd, Brennan, Jason Hamilton, Marcus Geener, Scott Parnaby, Callum Cameron and a second for Geener, with Brennan adding 2 goals. West Bowling replied through Dimar Akar and Lewis Magson, both converted by Camden. Scully saw red on 70 minutes, sealing a tough day for the home side.
Meanwhile, West... Oh, sorry.
I'll just go through the scorers there. Obviously, tries, 2 for Brennan, 1 for Dodd and Hamilton, 2 for Greener. Parnaby, Cameron also got tries with goals from Hamilton and 2 from Brennan. West Bowling tries from Scully, Akara, Magson and Camden got 2 goals.
I obviously got carried away and wanted to sort of jump in and give you the update of Dewsbury Moor and West Hull. Well, West Hull, they moved to the top of the table with a solid win over Dewsbury Moor. The Maroons started well with an Aidan Innocent try, goaled by Greg Colbridge, but West Hull took control with tries from Ben Arbon, Lennox Green, Cian Goodhead and Sam Rockenalua. Jack Townend kicked 3 goals and 2 penalties to ensure the victory. So Dewsbury Moor had tries from Innocent and Adamson, Colbridge kicking 2 goals in the end, and West Hull had tries from Arbon, Green, Goodhead, Rockenalua and Townend kicked 4 goals.
Yeah, and Hunslet woes continue as Rochdale Mayfield saw them off, and Hunslet now remain in the relegation zone. Nick Hargreaves and Connor Ratcliffe gave Mayfield a half-time lead. Hunslet hit back though through Michael Waite and Jordan Gale, but Mayfield pulled away late on with tries from Jordan Parr, 2, and Max Risman. Ewan Higgs converted 4 from 5. Rochdale Mayfield's tries, Hargreaves, Ratcliffe, 2 for Parr, Risman, and 4 goals from Higgs. Meanwhile, Hunslet's tries were Waite and Gale, with goals from McClellan, just 1.
And Loch Lane, they produced a thrilling comeback of their own, overturning a 12-0 deficit to snatch victory in the final seconds. Thatto Heath's Keane Guildford with 2 and Dave Hull put the hosts ahead, but Lane hit back with tries from Connor Wilson, Tom Newbold and Morgan Jones. Adam Saunders' late try looked to have won it for Thatto, but Jones landed a clutch conversion to seal the points. Scorers there for Thatto, 2 tries from Guildford, 1 each for Hull and Saunders, just the 1 goal from the boot of Leicester, and for Loch Lane, tries for Wilson, Newbold, Jones with 2 goals from the boot of Jones.
Meanwhile, Siddle came away with a well-earned win at York Acorn. Jacob Rushworth and Daniel Williams set the visitors on the way before Harry Milne sealed the deal in the second half. James Greenwood kicked 2 conversions and a penalty. Tries for York Acorn from Parker, Siddle tries from Rushworth and Williams and Milnes with 3 goals from Greenwood.
Into Division 1 now, and 3 teams are setting the early pace, with Ince Rosebridge leading the way following a 38-14 win over Woolston Rovers. Ince never trailed but were level at 8-all before pulling away. Callum Hughes scored 4 tries. He's in a rich vein of form at the moment, with Kian Aaron, Harry Penny, Byron Aspinall and Jamie Malone also crossing. Mason Fillingham kicked 2 goals and Peter Valentine added 1. The scorers for Ince Rosebridge: Callum Hughes with 4 tries, Kian Aaron, Harry Penny, Byron Aspinall, Jamie Malone all scoring 1 each. Mason Fillingham kicking 2 goals, Peter Valentine with 1. For Woolston Rovers, they did respond. They had a try through Callum Ham-et-Spy, Ben Roberts and Ben Dixon, with 1 goal from the boot of Craig Lawton.
Wigan St Jude's were only 14 points to 12 ahead before the break, but pulled clear in the second half to claim a 54 points to 16 victory over Oulton Raiders. 4 players, Aaron Smith, Harry Parkinson, Dante Morley Samuels and Connor Parkinson, all scored twice, while Joey Brady and Callum Parker also touched down. Danny Cassidy added 7 goals. Scorers: Wigan St Jude's, as we said, 2 for Aaron Smith, 2 for Harry Parkinson, 2 for Dante Morley Samuels, plus 2 for Connor Parkinson. Joey Brady, Callum Parker also adding singles there, and Danny Cassidy on a hand to kick 7 goals. Oulton Raiders, Charlie Tetley, Burley Metcalf and Robbie Powell on hand for tries, and Josh Perkins adding 2 goals.
Shawcross Sharks came from behind to beat Kells by 28 points to 20. Tennyson Neagle and Tom Ashen scored late tries, with Lewis Heckford kicking 2 goals. Arian Woods, Joe Childs and Ashen had crossed earlier, while Evan Stevenson converted twice. Kells led at one stage with tries from James Ennis, Ashton Syce and Clark Chambers. Ennis and James Syce each kicking 2 goals, and in the end scorers for Shawcross Sharks were Tennyson Neagle, Tom Ashen, Arian Woods, Joe Childs, with goals split between Lewis Heckford with 2, Evan Stevenson with 2, and for Kells, tries from James Ennis, Ashton Syce and Clark Chambers, goals split between James Ennis with 2 and James Syce with 2.
Wigan St Pat's made it 2 wins from 2 with a strong first half in their 32 points to 4 victory over Oldham St Anne's. Riley Dervin, Danny Riding and Brad Smith all scored before the break. Riding completed his hat-trick in the second half, with Dervin also adding another try. Smith kicked 4 goals. Oldham's own response was a try for Connor Rose. So Wigan St Pat's try, 2 for Riley Dervin, 3 for Danny Riding, 1 for Brad Smith. Brad Smith kicked 4 goals. And for Oldham St Anne's, the only try scorer was Connor Rose.
I wonder how many of those pushover tries
exactly
for Danny Riding after our conversation with him after the opening day victory the other week. Over at Crossfields, they opened and closed the scoring against Huworth with 2 Luke Walker tries, the first of which was converted by Brad Stanway. But Huworth took control in between with tries from Max Rhodes, Harley Axe and Dan Clark. Rhodes added 2 goals to seal the win. So the scorers there for Crossfields: 2 tries from Luke Walker, 1 goal from the boot of Brad Stadway, and for Huworth, 2 tries from Max Rhodes, Harley Axe and Dan Clark with the other scores, and 2 goals from the boot of Max Rhodes as well.
And to complete the roundup in Division 1, Stanningly struck earlier Egremont through Alex Ryan, with Dean Parker adding the goal. Egremont hit back before half-time with tries for Kai Beckett and Matt Buser, with Beckett converting 1. Harry Valente late try secured a 14 points to 6 win for the home side. Scorers for Egremont: Kai Beckett, Matt Buser and Harry Valente. Goals by Kai Beckett. Stanley, Alex Ryan scored a try and Dean Parker goaled.
Okay, so now we're going to look at the National Conference League Division 2, and I can't think of a better place to start, although I'm sure my next guest won't appreciate me saying that, than the game between East Leeds and Clockface. It turned into a resounding win for East Leeds. I think they won 72 points to 10. On the other end of the line, I've got Clockface head coach Lee Cunningham. How are you doing, Lee? Have you managed to lick the wounds yet?
Yeah, I'm a little bit bruised and battered, Dave, but yeah, you know, it was a great learning experience for all of our lads just on Saturday.
And as well, if I can just take you through it from a club point of view, because if we take that result in isolation, the rest of the start of the season has been magnificent for you. And as we were just saying before I pressed the record button, you've got a lot of younger players that are just learning the craft at the moment, haven't you?
Yeah. Certainly, if you kind of look at the journey that we've gone on over the last 24 season, moving into 25 now, we've gone from a reasonably older age team at the start of 24 when we had a little bit of success in the Challenge Cup, and then quite a few players moved off to other clubs or Australia, etc. And then we brought the under-18s through, which was kind of going from the crest of the wave down to the bottom of the wave, and we've had to rebuild and go again. And then so us going to there on Saturday, the first 3 games of the season has been, although we've got the results, I think like all the players are quite honest and humble about what they've done, and we've not really performed to the best of our abilities yet. So that's kind of exciting that we're still getting results, but not kind of got the right performance yet. But Saturday was just one of those games where sometimes the game just runs away from you. So.
And to be fair as well, I mean, East Leeds have brought players in they've got quite considerable numbers of players that they brought in from elsewhere, haven't they?
Yeah, absolutely. If I'm honest with you, Dave, like we played against the top team in Wath last season, and obviously they're proving it in the Premier Division now. You know that they're in the upper places in the league standings. I would say East Leeds are, if not on par with Wath, then a little bit better. The backs are excitingly fast. The forwards are really, really strong and mature, really good hands. They can play off the forwards, and the half-backs are really, really smart and complement the whole team. You know, they're the glue that brings the team together. They really impressed us on Saturday. And then what a great setup it is as well as a hub of the community. We took a lot out of Saturday's game, and hopefully it'll give us somewhere to strive for, really.
Yeah, because I mean, if there is a beauty about, sort of the journey that Clockface have been on, you're now going to places where perhaps you've not been to before. You've got a new breed of players that are coming through that they've not been to some of these places before as well. So it's a real learning experience. And I think if you can take something positive from it, and, you've obviously seen the setup there and you think, yeah, we could perhaps do a little bit of something. And I think a lot of the time it's about sharing ideas, isn't it, in rugby league? And sometimes we're a bit reticent to do that for some strange reason.
Yeah, I think some of it comes down to just like parochial, not wanting to share your better ideas, but like I kind of take a lot out of watching other games on YouTube or even listening to the podcast, your podcast on a Wednesday night. And listening to see what other clubs are doing. I know you mentioned last week about Wath Brow and the charity top that they did with the video unveil, and and how much social media is improving throughout the league. And I think the more that we kind of help each other, support each other, and the coaches becoming smarter and more analytical, and passing on good advice to the players, higher the standards of the whole game will improve, and we're in a win-win situation then.
Yeah, I've certainly seen that this season that there is a lot more stuff being put on social media. I think plus it helps that I'm a little bit more across it than certainly I possibly have been over the last sort of 18 months, 2 years myself. So, but it is good to see that, and I think there is a lot more of those sharing ideas that are about now, isn't there?
Yeah, I think so. Look at the TikTok and the Instagram accounts of clubs and coaches throughout the world, and a conversation can be had with a coach in Australia sports grappling systems, for example, and you can have a go on there and have a look and I can bring that into. That was just what we was looking to try and involve and include and improve our team on in that part of that game. There, controlling ruck, for example, would be a key one for most teams, I would imagine.
And even yourself, you've been sort of like taking to social media yourself through Clockface, haven't you? Talking a little bit, doing a couple of post-match interviews, which again just opens things up a little bit more, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's something what our social media guru Dan Hall has really kind of grasped hold of, and I think it's just good PR for your club, isn't it? To promote on as many kind of different mediums as it possibly can, really.
So if I can take you on maybe perhaps a little journey, who have you got coming up next?
So this Saturday we welcome Skirler to Crawford Street, so yeah, it was something we were really looking forward to, really. Last year we built a good rapport with the lads down there. We played on the last game of the season when it was do or die, and we but we still died. But just a really, really good welcoming club with steeped in history of the NCL, aren't they? There's not much that they haven't won during the recent antecedents, really.
And where does their dangers come? Are they a team which you've spent a little bit of time looking at, really?
Yeah, so we know that they've always been strong throughout the middle, and you'll have to forgive me, I don't know his name, but I know the number 7 is a really, really high energy player who gives them a lot of direction. They missed the loose forward. The loose forward went to Westall, and he was a fantastic player for him. But throughout that team, there's potential to score points, and I think just a couple of weeks back they played against East Leeds and it was an 18-12 score. So clearly defensively they can they're more than competent.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and from your standpoint and your point of view, looking at your own side, how is your availability? I know I'm asking you this on a Monday night, so it's perhaps not the best question in the world, but I'm getting you to look into your crystal ball now, aren't I, Lee? But
no, I do you know what? It's mad because as soon as Saturday game finishes, me and Paul are straight away are on that phone and we're like, right. On WhatsApp, I'll be putting the polls up, who's available this week, and this and the other. And you kind of look at your unavailables, and every week for the first team and second team jointly, we're probably looking around a dozen, maybe a couple more unavailables. So since the start of the season, we've had a couple of dislocated shoulders. Big Ryan Price-Jones, he gained a Welsh cap during the winter on that tour to Poland and Germany with the Dragonhearts. And then we've got Carl Hunt, who's a very good centre for us. He's got trouble with his hamstrings. We missed Kenny Hunt as well. Kenny Hughes, so to say, last Saturday. Went to a weight training session and pulled out muscles in his neck, so it is what it is.
I suppose it always brings an opportunity for somebody else, though, does it? You can look at it. You can always look at it in two ways, can't you, Lee?
Absolutely. With Kenny missing, we've got 2 really, really good young hookers at the club. Danny Tabban, who was at Lee's academy last year, and Scott Honey, son of like a really good standard player. He was at Salford and Honey. We're very, very fortunate within the hooking position. As you say, as one place goes missing, another, it's the opportunity for somebody else.
It's been really good, sort of like seeing the start of the Geraghty's had, your number 7, because I think he's a key. He's like you mentioned, saying a little bit earlier about the gel that holds things together, and in some ways, when I've looked at Clotface over the last few years, he's been that type of player, that cog that just makes sure everybody else works.
He is. Lewis is capable of coming up with these magic plays every now and again that you just leaves you a bug of how has he done that? Just a magical person. But again, you metaphorically, you can say he's the glue of the team and this and that, but he's the captain of the team as well, and he does so much work for the club. And the lads and the players away from the playing pitch. It's a real credit to the club. It's a real credit to his family. Somebody that it'd be very, very hard to replace. In all fairness.
So I'm guessing that you're well. I already know the answer to this, because you're like me. As soon as a game finishes, you want the next one to come along, don't you? So we're both like really entrenched in our rugby league and wanting it to succeed and everything like that, aren't we, Leigh? Yeah, indeed. Sorry, go on. No, I was just going to say, it's so. I know that you're an experienced coach now in a way that you've seen some things and tried setting clubs up, and you're having almost like a bit of a renaissance period now coaching National Conference League, if it would be fair to say.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm in my 31st year of coaching now, and when I was in my first kind of phase of my coaching life, if you like, I was fortunate enough to kind of help out at North West Counties, and we took a tour to Russia in 1995 with an under-15s team. From the kind of helped out at Widnes for a bit in the academy and scholarship programs, and then just kind of set my roots into my own village club, really, at Burton Wood. And then nigh on 10 years later, players, and you only have a certain shelf life as a coach, don't you? So it was just time to move on, and we moved on separate ways. And then just how things at times kind of turn out is that one of the teams that I started merged with Clotface, and then I started as an assistant at the second team just 2 years ago, and then head coach at second team, assistant at first team, and just the way that the dominoes have fell, and really that I've ended up kind of head coach of the NCL team, and it's a fantastic opportunity for me. I've not experienced coaching at this level in the club side before, so and I've got to say, it's really kind of got my juices flowing into the game again.
I mean, that's really, really encouraging to hear that, because like you say, you do, as a coach, you run the risk sometimes, don't you, of almost stopping somewhere too long?
I suppose you can do. And I just think it's your circumstances that you find yourself in, with the people around you. And I'm very aware of, like, kind of, I think it's just about learning lessons all the time. None of us are perfect at any stretch of the imagination, really. And I just think as long as you're humble enough to say, where did it go wrong and where can I improve? I suppose it's a little bit like this experience, really. What did we do? Where can we improve? And how do we go about finding solutions to them problems, really? And that's been something that we've done continually throughout, certainly over the last probably 15, 20 years, that you kind of think you know the answers, but then when actually you sit down and have a chat with people and you think, could have done that bit a little bit better, I think.
Okay. And I suppose one last question for me then. If there was one bit of advice you could give yourself way back when, what would it be, knowing what you know now?
Pick up football. No. Oh, mate, the best bit of advice I can give you, I love chatting with other coaches, and the best thing I'd say is just keep your ears and your eyes open, and listen to what some great people that I've worked alongside over the years. Just take on board as much as you can.
Leigh, thank you ever so much. I really appreciate the chat about everything that you've got going on down there at Clockface at this moment in time. Hopefully you get back to the winning circle over the next few weeks, but I look forward to following the results over that period of time, and I'll catch up with you again soon.
Thanks, Dave, and thanks for doing all that you do for the game.
So leaders East Leeds, they continued their dominant start with a second successive 72-point haul, sweeping aside what was second placed Clockface Miners. The visitors had briefly levelled through Lewis Geraghty, but trailed by 30 points to 4 at half time. Geraghty then added another converted try early in the second half, but East remained in full control. Luke Littlewood starred with 28 goals, 2 tries and 10 goals in his tally, while David Camano and Kieran Brinnin both bagged braces. Additional tries came courtesy of George Clark, Alfie Crawford, AJ Wilson, Jake Normington, Kane Riley, Ryan Woofit and Adam Gibbons. So the scorers there in total for East Leeds: 2 tries and 10 goals from Littlewood, 2 tries from Camano, 2 tries from Brinnin, a try each from Clark, Crawford, Wilson, Normington, Riley, Woofit and Gibbons. I need to give you a big breath when I do these scorers, don't I, for East Leeds, who are having a storming start to the season. Clockface, Geraghty scoring all of their points, 2 tries and a goal.
Normanton bounced back from last week's heavy defeat with a hard-fought win over Barrow Island. The visitors led 14-10 heading into the final quarter through a Sam Jones try and goal, plus touchdowns from Trent Ruddy and Ryan Wilson. However, a double red card for Stuart Biscombe and Alex Mason shifted momentum, with late tries from Taylor Carter and Adam Biscombe sealing the win. Carter also landed 2 goals, while Sam Butler and Joe Crossland opened the scoring for the Knights. So the score is for Normanton Knights: 2 tries and 2 goals for Carter, tries for Biscombe, Butler, Crossland, and Barrow Island's scorers were Jones, try and a goal, Ruddy, try, and Wilson, a try.
A last gasp converted try from Lewis Fearon saw Ellenborough snatch their first win of the season at the expense of previously unbeaten Thornhill. Matty Bell's early try put the hosts ahead, but discipline issues saw Ryan Wilson and Sam Ratcliffe sin-binned. Johnny Campbell's try converted by Ratcliffe then edged Thornhill in front, but Fearon's late effort, improved by Brett Stevenson, ensured victory for Ellenborough. So for the Ellenborough Rangers, there were tries from Bell, Fearon, with a goal from Stevenson. Thornhill Trojans just getting over the line through Campbell, and Ratcliffe adding the only goal of a very tight tussle.
Meanwhile, Driglington battled back from a second half deficit to claim a dramatic win over Hensingham. Having led at 16 points to 4 before the break, Drig fell 24 points to 16 behind, but surged back despite Adam Blake's sin-binning. Braden Hunter, Liam Wright and Lucas Hallis scored crucial late tries, all converted by Mike Sanderson. Hensingham responded with a Matthew Williams try at the death, but the misconversion saw them fall just short. Scorers there were for Dridlington, try and 2 goals for Hunter, tries for Broadbent, Warren, Walton, Wright, Hallis and Sanderson got 3 goals. Hensingham, Starkey try, Muse try and 2 goals, Wickerby try, Dalton 2 tries and William a try.
And then for Dewsbury Celtic, they led throughout in their victory over Hull Dockers, sealing the game in the 66th minute with a Nath Waring try. Jordan Hurst kicked 3 goals to complement earlier scores from Ollie Thornton, Joe Mitchell and Mitch Cummins. The Dockers remained competitive with tries from Ollie Agar and Callum Birch. Both were improved by Agar, but their hopes faded after Paul Fletcher was sin-binned. So Dewsbury Celtic scorers: Thornton, Mitchell, Cummins and Waring, with Hurst adding 3 goals. For Hull Dockers, Agar with a try and 2 goals, Birch with the other try.
Pilkington Rex staged a superb second half comeback to snatch victory from Skirler. The Hull side had raced into an 18 points to 4 half-time lead, with Keel and Gregg converting tries from Josh Atkinson, Tom Gray and Stu Smith. But Pilkington responded with a Kieran Napper try and goal, along with a second touchdown for George Hannon. Napper converted again before Therese Daly scored in the 78th minute to complete a thrilling turnaround. Scorers for Pilkrex, 2 tries for Hannon, Napper a try and 2 goals, and also a try for Daly. Try scorers were Atkinson, Gray and Smith, with Gregg kicking 3 goals.
And moving into the National Conference League Division 3, and the early season shake-up sees Saddleworth Rangers in top spot after shutting out previous table toppers Myton Warriors by 16 points to 0. Rangers led 6-0 at the break and sealed the win with 2 tries from Evan Parry, 1 from Josh Johnson and a couple of goals from Connor Whitehead. Myton's Kieran Smith impressed despite the loss, whilst discipline issues saw Jack Sanderson and Adam Jeffrey simbing late on for either side. Scorers will Saddleworth with the 2 tries from Parry, 1 from Johnson, 2 goals from the boot of Whitehead.
Right on their heels are Featherstone Lions, who edged out Milford 22 points to 12. Milford led 8-6 just after the restart through Callum Platts and Will Todd, but the Lions roared back, sealing the win late on with a Ash Smith try. Liam Kay added 2 goals, while earlier scores came from Danny Johnson, Will Smith and Alfie Beresford. Will Smith saw yellow in the final stages for delaying a restart. Scores there for Featherstone: tries Johnson, Smith, Beresford and also Smith. Goals: 2 for Kay, 1 for Johnson. For Milford, tries came from Platts, 2 for Todd.
Keighley Albion secured their first win back in the National Conference League with a 35-22 triumph at Beverley. Keighley never trailed, racking up tries from Josh Tenniswood with 2, James Stevenson, Ben Sagar, Adam Gaunt and Evan Jones, alongside a late drop goal by Ben Stead. Beverley kept in touch with scores from Tom Barman, Joe Rose, Ben Clark and Lewis Harold, but their challenge later faded. So in total, Keighley had tries from Tenniswood with 2, Stevenson, Sagar, Gaunt, Jones with 1 each, Hudson kicking 3 goals, Cox kicking 2, and the drop goal coming courtesy of Ben Stead. For Beverley, their tries went the way of Barman, Rose, Clark and Harold, with Rowan kicking 2 goals and Poskett kicking the other.
And finally, Dissington edged Bentley 16 points to 20 in a tense contest. Jamie Friel got the visitors off to a flyer with Scott George converting, but Bentley kept in touch as Tony Turton crossed before the break. Jack Penrice and Jesse Joe Parker extended Dissington's lead, and despite Ben Sykes' late try for Bentley, Dissington held on for the win. Scorers for Dissington: tries from Friel, Penrice and Parker, 2 goals for George and 1 for Bentley. 2 goals for George. Bentley's tries came from Turton, Sykes and goals from Lewis.
Interesting set of results that, wasn't it, Steve?
Yeah, it certainly was. Gotta say, great to see Keighley Albion getting on the getting a win under the belt.
That's the result that stood out for me when I was going through that as well. And interesting to see a couple of names there as well. So Ben Sager, who, if you remember a few weeks ago when we spoke to the Keighley Albion coach, he was saying that he'd signed him having played for Keighley Cougars several years ago.
That's right, yeah.
He played something like 100 games at pro level, so he was quite a long-serving player. And also the drop goal from Ben Stead as well, who also proved to be quite a well-travelled League One player. So they've got some experience there, and as you mentioned, great win for him.
Yeah, it's just getting games under the belt, isn't it? And getting used to that. What is, even though the game's the same, the format in the sense of your long travel, all those types of things, and how players react to that.
Yeah, I mean it's a different commitment level, I think, that's needed in the National Conference League. We've heard from the likes of Connor Grainey earlier on saying that at Leigh East they've got 37 players down at training every week.
Yeah,
and those are the sort of numbers that you need to have a competitive open age squad, in my opinion. especially these days when you've got stag do's, you've got holiday times which will be coming up in the next couple of months. They all add up, don't they? And you need more and more players, don't you, to fulfil your fixtures?
Certainly do. Something that caught my eye last year, if you remember rightly, was in the League Express.
Yes.
Phil Hodgson asked people to sort of let him know where they think various teams would finish in their division. So it was basically a poll which put together then a predictions league. We read it at the beginning of the season last year, and then we went back to it at the end of the season. Well, we thought we'd let a few games get under the belt before we read it out, just to give you an idea of how well people may be correct or wrong, etc. So let's go through it and let's see what you think of where your team is in the predictions league in the League Express. We'll start with Division 3. We'll start from the bottom. They think Bentley will be bottom of the pile. Then they think Featherstone Lions will be second to bottom. Then Milford. I think Leigh East might not have a great season. Then Myton Warriors, Saddleworth Rangers, Millom in the middle of the mix, Dissington third from top, Beverley second, and Keighley Albion, as they think they will be top of the tree.
It's looking a little bit different at this moment in time, isn't it? When you've got, I know we're only talking a couple of games in, by the way, so we're not getting carried away just yet, but I think Saddleworth will be up there, mainly because of the way that they've defended over the first couple of weeks, and they've had a couple of really, really good results. And obviously Featherstone Lions are 2 from 2 as well.
Exactly, yeah.
So they're nowhere near where they're expected to be on this table at the moment, are they?
Not at all. And they're moving into Division 2. Bottom of the tree there, they think, will be Driglington, followed by Thornhill Trojans, and Barrow Island, Enzingham just above them, then Ellenborough Rangers. Then coming towards the middle of the table, it's Skirler, just below Normington Knight. Then I think that Lee Cunningham's Clotface Miners will be about 5th or 6th from the top. Then Dewsbury Celtic just above them. And then they think East Leeds will be 3rd. Pilkington Rex 2nd. And then Hull Dockers top of the table.
So again, fairly early stages, but a few more games under the belt for these clubs at the moment. And Hull Dockers, who were being tipped to be top, are actually running second bottom at this moment in time. Driglington are in 8th with 2 wins and 2 losses from their 4 games. Pilkington Rex are 7th with 2 wins and 2 defeats. I'm not even going anywhere near East Leeds at the moment, only being nominated as 3rd, when we're hearing Lee Cunningham before rating them on a par, if not better, than the Waterhead side that basically we've been really, really praising over for the last 2 or 3 years as they've been on their rise through the National Conference League. And again, sort of like looking at Thornhill Trojans currently sitting in 4th to be second bottom. So maybe they've already put some of these on the dressing room walls.
I was just going to say, I hope these people weren't in Benidorm doing the tipping the horses. Right, in Division 1, bottom of the tree there is Shawcross Sharks, just below Stanningley, then Oldham St Anne's, then Wigan St Jude's. Just above Wigan St Jude's, it was Woolston Rovers, who then are chasing Oulton Raiders. Crossfields are up there, and just above them is Wigan St Pat's, with Kells above them. And then the top 3 are Egremont Rangers, Ince Rose Bridge, and top of the pile they think will be Youth.
We've currently got 4 clubs that are unbeaten in these early stages of Division 1, and they are Ince Rose Bridge, Wigan St Jude's, who've topped 120 points in their 3 games, Shawcross Sharks, who were tipped to finish bottom of this league, they've scored 116 points themselves, and Wigan St Pat's unbeaten in their first 2 games of the season, having only conceded 14 points. Bottom of the tree at the moment, Crossfields, Woolston and Alton, who were all fancied to finish a little bit further up.
Middle of the table, yeah.
Yeah. Kells haven't won yet, so they're 3 games, 3 defeats. They'll be hoping to arrest that slide before getting dragged into anything, won't they?
They certainly will. And let's have a look at the Premier Division. Well, they've got, usually, which I'm not surprised at this, they've got Dewsbury Moor Maroons at the bottom, because always the new boys, people don't reckon will do too well. Then Leigh Miners Rangers, the Waterhead Warriors down there, just below West Bowling. Middle of the table we've got Loch Lane, then York Acorn. Above York Acorn we've got Wath Brow Hornets, and just above them is Hunslet ARLFC, and in 4th place we've got Thatweath Crusaders, just below Rochdale Mayfield, and your top 2 are West Hull with Siddle as the top of the tree in the Prem.
Yeah, I mean, West Hull are certainly up there at the moment. They're the only unbeaten side in the Premier Division. Waterhead have done remarkably well in the first 4 games of the season, just a 1 defeat.
Yeah.
West Bowling have had a tremendous start as well, with 3 wins from the first 4 games. Then you've got a bit of mix and matching between 4th place Rochdale Mayfield and 8th placed Wath Brow Hornets. And in that mix are the likes of Loch Lane, and they've generally won 2, lost 2. Hunslet are the team that, from these initial results, don't seem to be on a big run of form at the moment, because they're sitting 3rd bottom. However, Leigh Miners Rangers, I'm sure they'll look at this and they'll say, we're not an 11th place team. Dewsbury Moor Maroons will look at this and say, we're not a 12th place team, even though they are sitting in those
struggling at the moment, aren't they, Dewsbury Moor? I think they're finding it a bit.
I don't know about struggling really, because they have been very competitive in the games. Yeah. You kind of look at it. They've conceded 74 points across 4 games. Not that bad, really. Okay, it's only 20 points a game, that. So it's not that bad, really.
Yeah. It might be one of those things where you get the first win under your belt, that things start to bit of confidence gets in the camp. But I think they were under no illusion that it was going to be tough when we were talking to them. But So that's the prediction final tables there, and what we'll do, we'll put them away, lock them away in the 13 Pro-Am safe.
I've got one.
Yeah.
Did the budget go that far this year?
It did. There's nothing in it, Parker.
Oh, right, okay. I was thinking, you mean I've not spent it all on things like the other bits that I've been buying?
The only things we're keeping in there is this list and all those hugs you got at Leigh East.
And the word Bazza.
Bazza, yeah, that's well and truly in there, trust me. So, and we'll dig it out again at the end of the season, like we did last year, and we'll just see how close the predictions are.
Talking about close, it's time for the fixtures, isn't it? And let's have a look at who's playing whom in the Premier Division this week. So we've got Dewsbury Moor against West Bowling, Thatto Heath are up against Leigh Miners Rangers, Siddle are hosting Waterhead. That looks like it's going to be an interesting tie. West Hull are against Rochdale Mayfield, which again, on paper, that looks like it's outstanding. And we heard Fran King before talking about York Acorn hosting Wath Brow Hornets. There's also a small matter of the game that we'll be at as well.
That's right, yeah.
So we're talking about the big improving Loch Lane up against a Hunslet side that has lost a good number of members of its team, haven't they? To the likes of Dewsbury Rams. They've gone players who's gone to the pro game. They've had a couple of retirements. They've had about 2 or 3 players that have gone down the road to East Leeds as well and seem to be having the time of their life over there. I think we're in for a good encounter between these two, and I'll be honest as well, Loch Lane haven't been far off, so I think they lost to West Hull by 2 points, and the other game that they lost was again a very, very narrow sort of score on another day that we could have been talking about them being 4 from 4 and being joint top or top of this National Conference Premier Division.
Yeah, and that win last week as well against Tatuate as well was absolutely unbelievable, wasn't it?
I had a quick chat with Paul Couch actually, you know, when I was discussing about going over there for the weekend, and he was telling me that's one of the best National Conference League games that he's ever been involved in.
Yeah.
He said the standard for both sides was really, really high, and he was cock-a-hoop at getting the win, obviously, you know. Yeah. But I mean, that does speak volumes. I mean, even when you look at, you know, Thato this week playing against Leigh Miners Rangers, they're probably a little bit better than the 1 win 2 loss ratio this season. I think. And I had that feeling when I first spoke to Mike Woods around about Christmas time, you know. For Hunslet, like we said, they're a team very much in transition. And interesting, when we were looking at the stats, is that they've had a number of try scorers, but there's nobody who's scored more than 1 try yet this season. So they're very evenly spread, and they've also had to use 3 goal kickers as well, which is an unusual spot for them to be in so early in the season. Usually they've got like the very dependable players, haven't they? So it does suggest that there's I've used this saying a few times, a changing of the guard that is happening there, doesn't it?
Very much so, and I think like they've said, you know what I mean, they know we've been champions, you know, for so many times in succession. That first and foremost, they're always a target anyway. But now they know, you know, they're a wounded beast, aren't they, in some sense, with those losses they've got under the belt.
And even though we've mentioned about the players that have gone, they've still got some pedigree in that squad. They're reigning champions, and they're not reigning champions for nothing. When we saw them rise off the canvas with about 6 weeks to go at the end of last season, and it was almost inevitable that they were going to get through and they were going to win it. They've just got this.
Well, they know how to play the division.
They do know how to play the division,
because it's like, you know, I always equate it to like Formula One. That what happens for the first sort of, you know, the best part of the season is you're getting your grid position, aren't you, for that final race, which is the top 6, and where you are in that top 6, you know, gives you a better chance to a certain degree.
They've still got some right proper. You know, like decent players there as well, the likes of Jordan Gale, likes of Matty Scott, likes of McClelland. You know, these are good players. These are very experienced players. They know how to play the division, like you said. And as the season progresses, Hunslet will need to build that momentum, starting with this crucial match against Loch Lane. Again, looking at the Loch Lane as well, I mean, I know we're saying about them sitting mid-table, the 5th, but they could so easily be sitting top of the tree. Their attacking play has been electric at times. They perhaps need to work a little bit on the defence, a little bit on the discipline. They've had a few players sin-binned already this season, and that, I'm sure that consistency will come. The squad has shown that they can compete with the top sides, but they also need to avoid the lapses that I've seen them give away a couple of tries, a couple of results along there. And also as well, the next few weeks for Loch Lane are critical as well, so they can really get a push on into this next section of the season with a win at the weekend. We can't wait to join you. We're going to be over on our Mixler channel, aren't we, for that one? We're looking forward to broadcasting. We've got a slightly earlier kick-off time as well.
Yeah, it's 2 o'clock over there at Loch Lane.
Of course, it is. It is Grand National weekend, isn't it?
I didn't know that.
I think this is the reason why.
I see.
So I think so. I'm going to be having a bit of a look to see how many
players are over in Benidorm watching the Grand National.
No. I was going to say about how many horses' names we can fit in the commentary.
Right.
I need to have a check now, you know, but I'm sure this is the reason why a lot of clubs are changing kick-off times and stuff this week, because there has been quite a few ones, hasn't there, you know, that have done that. That is going to be a great game for us. I'm really looking forward to it. First time in a little while that I've been back to Loch Lane as well, so I again.
I must admit, I've never been, so I'm looking forward to it.
Something that I'm looking forward to
have a chat with Couchy again, because we were with him for the final last year. He was on the gantry with us, wasn't he?
He certainly was. Division 1, well, that all gets underway on Thursday evening. So Alton Raiders, they're hosting Ince Rose Bridge, a 7 p.m. start for that one. And then on Saturday we've got Heworth against Egremont. Kells hoping to get their first win of the season up against Woolston Rovers.
That'll be a good game there.
Oldham St Anne's will be looking for a win as well against Crossfields. Stanley against Shawcross, that's got a bit of intriguingness about it, hasn't it, I feel, even though Shawcross have had a brilliant start to the season. And if I can just throw in here, I know I've not got it mentioned on any of the things that we've prepared, social media post of the week, it's coming from Shawcross Sharks. They've named their first player of the month, and it's none other than their prop forward, Tennyson Eagle. And you can't win a game without a prop forward.
You can't.
So there you go. So big mention to Shawcross Sharks this week. And then I nearly ignored that one, didn't I? The one that's sitting right at the bottom of the list of our Division 1 fixtures. It's only the small matter of a Wigan derby. Wigan St Jude's up against Wigan St Patrick's.
Yeah, it's what do you call it? It's
Battle of the Brothers, I think.
Battle of the Brothers, isn't it? The Star Wars analogy, where it's the father and the son. Because if I remember rightly, when we were chatting when we were down there today, St Jude's to a certain extent was born out of St Matt's, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. Don't go trying to mix things up, but I do quite like your analogy there, by the way. But yeah, no, I was thinking brothers in arms, because you've got the Valentines. Well, no, that's later in the season, isn't it? But you've definitely got the Parkinsons.
Yeah.
Up against who they can go forward to against Wigan St Pat's.
I want to know if Mr. Riding can score any of those tries from dummy half near the line over the weekend. It's going to be that is one I know that was mentioned when we were over there, that they're certainly looking forward to at St Jude's, and hopefully there's got to be a big crowd for that one, hasn't there? There's got to be.
Never mind the Grand National. Get over to Wigan St Jude's and Wigan St Pat's. Yeah. But listen to us while it's going on. In Division 2, we have Clockface Miners against Skirler. We heard Lee Cunningham talking of his respect, really, for the Skirler law and everything that they stand for. Barrow Island, they're at home to Hull Dockers. Dricklington against Dewsbury Celtic has a little bit of an intriguing ring to it as well. Normanton Knights against Ellenborough Rangers. And then we've got Pilks against Hensingham. So Hensingham travelling down from Cumbria for this one against an improving Pilks rec side. East Leeds, 4-0 lie in wait for them. Will they be the side to topple East Leeds? We'll tell you more about it next week, shall we? And then in Division 3, Leigh East travel up to Dissington. That's a bit of a trek for them up to Cumbria. Featherstone Lions will look to continue this amazing start to the season. They'll go after game number 3 and win number 3 at home to Bentley. Keighley Albion have an intriguing game up against Mighton Warriors, once upon a time league leaders. Yes, I know I'm building it up. I know we're only 2 games in, but you gotta talk these things, haven't you? Milford, they're at home to Beverley. Saddleworth Rangers, they're on the road to Millom.
They're on the road to Millom. Wasn't that a TV series?
I don't know.
That was that's on the road to nowhere. That's what it was.
So, have we anything else, Steve?
No, I think that's about it, Parky. It's been a long one and all that.
I always look up to see whether I've missed anything. So, do you remember you can join us on Saturday for our big game from Loch Lane? Really looking forward to that as they host Hunslet. It's a wrap for the week. Get subscribing to us. Follow us on all our socials, so we're right across all of them, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, certainly. See you next week.
Every tackle, every try, every scrum. Green Cooling is proud to be part of the Community Rugby League family.